Welcome to the High Ticket Success Podcast, where premium coaches, consultants, and advisors come for bold strategies, big breakthroughs, and real results. I'm your host, Dave DeBow. Hey, folks, welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Are you interested in starting up a new or a different business that might be very lucrative and is definitely in high demand? Well, if so, listen carefully to today's interview because zooming in from New Jersey, we've got somebody who helps people do exactly that. Konar helps people become business loan brokers. So welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate it.
So first things first, big dumb question. What is a business loan broker? Like what's this all about? Who are the loans typically for? Just kind of paint us the picture of what this looks like as a business.
Yeah. So business loan brokers are people who are in between the people who need money and the people who have money. And they, by facilitating a transaction, they make a commission, right? So there are two types of business loan brokers. One is the traditional business loan broker working for a bank. It could be Chase, Bank of America, whatever, right? You go to walk into a bank and you tell them you need some capital to grow the business. They refer you to the small business banker, then the business loan broker, and things like that. But that system has been broken since banks do not approve most of the small business funding opportunities. They're kind of designed for like mid to large size of traditional banks. That created an industry called alternative lending industry. And the business loan broker, the people that we train, they cover that massive gap of small business funding. So they are trained to find people who need capital, and there's no shortage of them, as you can agree, and match them with a private network of lenders. Some of these people are individuals, some of them are hedge funds, some of them are small banks. And then when the business gets the type of funding that they're looking for, it could be startup capital, to buy an equipment, to grow the business, to save the business. And when the transaction takes place, they make a commission. Usually commission amount is $2,000 to $5,000, depending on the size of the deal. That's why it becomes a very lucrative industry, especially for people who have some level of sales background, because then it's not really a hard sell. It's just if someone doesn't need money or don't see the need for it, then move on to the next person. But if someone is looking for capital or they got burned, by the banks, then we always welcome them and we can provide the funding.
Okay, very good. So a couple of questions coming to my mind here, Oz. Number one, the end borrower. Are they typically, kind of give us a menu of different options there. Are they typically established small businesses looking for additional funding, or are they typically people just getting into business from scratch looking for startup capital? Like what's...
Yeah, great question. So it goes 50-50. So we deal with pre-revenue businesses too. Currently, banks do not really have like a true startup option unless you provide collateral, like your home or whatever, your car, right? Yeah. So we deal with people who are entrepreneurial, they're ambitious, they want to start a business. Maybe they need like $50K for a food truck or like to buy a walk-in box or stuff like that, right? And we have funding options since we don't have any revenue or collateral. This is non-collateralized. We have funding options based off of their personal or business credit. Like anyone who has 680 and above is a good candidate for us to start underwriting. The other bucket is the true small businesses, which makes up about 70% of U.S. economy, like about 34 million businesses. These are businesses who are doing usually less than $1 million in revenue. They have revenue to show. So we're looking for someone who's been in business for at least a month and they have some kind of revenue coming, right? So we can fund anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $2 million. So as you can see, that's like two massive pools of people that we can provide capital. And as a business loan broker, you take advantage of that funding gap that's created by the big banks.
So I'm thinking organizing a loan for somebody for $2,000 is probably not too lucrative.
Not really. Yeah.
So what is the average loan amount that you've seen over the years that your loan brokers are doing?
Usually it's around 40 to 50K. Our bread and butter is like businesses who need like working capital. That's the average. But we also, for like more established businesses, we have SBA options. SBA, Small Business Administration, backed by the government. Those amounts are much larger. Usually $250,000 can go up to like $2 million. But for everyday people who need capital to, make the payroll or buy an equipment or use it for marketing, that amount is usually 50K or so.
Okay, so we talked about two different buckets of clientele, the the true startup type business that hasn't got anything going yet, a more established business that needs some extra capital for whatever. Very different folks. So what are you looking for? Like, what does collateral look like for your lenders typically?
99% of our deals are non-collateralized, so there's no collateral needed.
Okay.
Because when you get into collateralized lending, which is happening with the banks, right? You need tax return documentation and all that, and average processing time could vary from 4 to 6 weeks. And when you're dealing with a small business, they don't have that much time. They just want rapid funding. A lot of our funding happens within 24 to 48 hours, meaning because all we need is like if this is an existing business, we need 3 months of bank statements. Then our back-end team categorizes, all right, which one of the buckets is this a good fit for? What kind of funding options? We ask the merchant the question, hey, is this like an emergency type of funding, or you're looking to, I don't know, buy out your competition or build an extension to your existing restaurant and things like that? Then if we have time, then we can go through the SBA route, which can take 2 to 3 weeks or so, right? But nonetheless, the funding time is very limited. So we're not looking at months or weeks after weeks. So we just talk to the merchant, and like our brokers are trained to talk to the merchant to understand the use of funds, how soon do you need the funding, how long you've been in business, and what's the average monthly revenue for the past 3 or 4 months. If it is pre-revenue, we say, what's your credit score, or do you have a cosigner? If you have 680 and above, then we underwrite. Obviously, credit score is not the only factor. We just look at the depth of the credit, but it is an initial qualifier. That's our brokers enjoy that because it's the simple qualification, whereas banks, 2 years of tax returns and things like that. And most businesses, if you ever work with small businesses, a lot of times they just don't even have it, or they don't want to provide it,
No, that makes a lot of sense. So fast, convenient money, that is very, very appealing. Tends to be kind of expensive though. So what are the kind of the interest rates that are being charged here for these kind of?
Depends. If someone needs the money like yesterday, and think about this, like we're not providing any collateral. So they're not providing any collateral, and we're just basing it off of the future revenue, meaning that hopefully they'll take this money and they're going to pay us back, right?
Yeah.
So that one is the most expensive form of money. Well, it comes in like term loans or merchant cash advance. It's not a good fit for every business, right? We look at like, they have a history of getting these funding, because some people start stacking those.
So it's almost like payday loans for companies.
Very expensive, right? Yeah. So like that's why we're adamant about like, hey, do you definitely need like 50K, or this is like a wish list? Like I wish I had 50K type of thing, because it's better that if you take a lesser amount, if it is gonna, obviously we still do the underwriting to make sure that they're able to pay it back. The default rates are 3 to 5% if the underwriting team is solid. So it's not like most of them are failing, but when you look at it from a lender's perspective, it's a super high risk loan, right? So this business, you're dealing with a small mom and pop usually. That's the most expensive. The least expensive one is either invoice factoring or like an SBA. This SBA rates are much lower. The terms are much longer. It can go up to like 10 years. That requires a little bit of underwriting. That's why we're looking for a little bit of maturity in the business and a higher revenue. And then it's based on what they're going to do with the money, right? So for example, with an MCA, they can technically take the money and go on a shopping spree. Like we can't. The use of funds is up to the business, right? Whereas SBA, it is a little more complex. So we need to know what the project is, need to know details. So the beauty is that we're not like a MCA, a hard, like expensive money pushing, organization. We're like, follow a consultative approach, because there's a reason why expensive money exists, because there's demand for it. We didn't create the demand; we have to supply it. But at the same time, for example, a business who doesn't need emergency funding should have a business line of credit. So it's approved, it's there. The best time to get money is when you don't need it, right?
Yeah.
So because when things are emergency, it's going to come with a cost.
And it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, especially restaurants. We set up a lot of them with, like, for example, business line of credit, because as you know, they're on really thin margin. Things might be great today, but next month, I don't know, there's a construction in your front yard and it just goes down the drain.
Down for a month. Yeah.
So we like to set them up with like $250,000, $500,000 of business line of credit. So when they do need it, they only pay when they draw on it, right? So that flexibility
as quickly as they want.
Yeah. So that you can determine the terms of how much you need. But usually businesses get creative when they get access to capital. They can start a marketing campaign and, pay influencers or whatever, right? But when you're on like 5% margin, you can't really get that creative.
No. Very, very cool. Well, this is interesting, Oz. Now, let's talk about who the ideal person is to think about doing this as a business, an ideal business loan broker, what have you found over the years tends to be the most successful type of person in this business, in this line of business?
We have two buckets, basically. People who already have a business and they come across people who need funding, primarily like accountants, bookkeepers, like people who associate themselves with banks. It could be like tellers, bank managers. They can't really accept compensation, but some people make a career transition. People who already work with businesses, like companies who serve like people with like large sales force, right? They're selling insurance. All these people are interacting with businesses who need capital. That's how I got started in the business, right? So I was selling a credit card processing. Someone approached me, talked to me about loans. That was like a direct transition. Those people kill it because it's like an add-on to what they do. They don't have to become a full-fledged business loan broker, and a CPA is not going to shut down his firm and become a business loan broker. But he or she is probably leaving a lot of money on the table by not offering it because his customer base needs it, right? The second bucket is people who are looking for like a career change. We usually get people after age 40, 45, they climb the corporate ladder and find out that it's not what it seemed to be. And they notice that...
or they got punted off the corporate ladder because now, AI and they're...
AI, so that there's that level of uncertainty right now. We're looking for those people. Hey, you already have the skill set. Like, you know how to talk to people. You probably have your own network. The corporate to help you gain those skill sets, like a people skill and things like that. Because at the end of the day, you're following a very consultative process, and we're handling the underwriting and back-end sales, like selling the loans of it. So what we need is people who are like, yeah, I'm already working hard. Obviously, what we do is not a good fit for couch potatoes. If you're innately lazy, nothing is going to work, right? But if you already do a lot of stuff, like I just interviewed a member of ours who funded a deal. The guy had like 3 jobs. Like, it was working like 14 hours, which is not uncommon, right? You and I know people like that. And he switched to this is like, all right, so I can put the same effort, but the payout is just like a high leverage activity thing, right? Those people do amazingly well because they might be on the wrong vehicle, basically, but they have the right skill sets.
Very, very cool. So Oz, what your most successful brokers who maybe don't already have a network of businesses they're working with all the time. So not the CPAs, not the bank teller type people, but the guys that are and gals that are switching careers, perhaps, if they don't have a big Rolodex of ready-made leads, what's working best for them in 2026 for generating leads for their loan brokerage?
Easiest and the least expensive way, almost free, is networking and looking for referral partners, looking for those CPAs and bank people and things like that. Because I tell our broker network, yeah, you want to go after people who need funding, but those who don't need funding, because unless you're an influencer, you're the authority in your place, you're going to come in not knowing a lot of people, right? So you can go to your friends and family, but that's cool for like a side income, but it's not going to build a business. If your goal is to build a business, you want to associate with people who already have authority. It's like a transfer of authority, right? So there's like, the hundreds of CPAs and bookkeepers and financial advisors and people with sales forces who have no clue that what we do even exists. Like, you don't see it on the news. You don't see a lot of YouTube channels talk about it. I always tell them, like, go build relationships and have them refer deals to you. We'll do the heavy lifting. You still get paid. That's going to get you going. And it's like a paid apprenticeship thing. Like, you watch us as we fund because we allow them to jump on a call with us, and we have a lot of coaching going on. That's a great way to build your referral partner network. That's exactly how I've done it, because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the marketing skills. I didn't know online marketing. For savvier people who come from like running an agency or e-commerce offer, running paid ads is the best, especially if they have a little bit of a budget. You can start with like $5, $10 a day, honestly. The generating leads you're selling the sexiest product on earth, right? It's pretty cheap to generate leads, like $5 a lead, $3 a lead. And those are the people who can scale it a lot faster because they just have those skill sets. If they don't, we teach it. But if you're looking for a way of like, I don't have a lot of money, but I can talk to people in any town in the US, there is some kind of networking event going on. So it's not an excuse at all.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you very much for kind of explaining big, broad strokes, how the whole, business loan brokerage gig works. And it sounds really ideal because, the broker's basically generating the leads, generating the interest. And then once they've got that, they pass it off to you. You're the back office. You've got all the lender connections. you do all the nitpicky, paperworky type stuff to make the loan actually happen. So it allows your brokers to focus on their highest value activity, which is lead gen and relationship building, while you guys take care of the back end. So that's really a smart model. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And also, not just that, Dave, we also allow them to become full-fledged business loan brokers, meaning that they also learn how to build those relationships with the lenders. So they can either become what we call refer and earn. You bring the leads and we fund it. But some people are ambitious in the way that they see this as a business. They want to understand, I want to close those deals. I want to talk to the lender, so they can go all the way through. But we create segments because not everyone actually knows how they want to build this when they first come in, right? We tell them the first goal is to make some money, like get some deals in. As you're going through this, we're working with your clients basically, right? So you get involved in the process. But we also have other people who've been in our platform for like 5 years. They haven't closed a deal. They just send leads. They don't want to learn that part, either because they're not salesy, and it just gives them the flexibility and the versatility of how they want to build this.
So at this point, how many years have you guys been running the company for?
So I was a broker myself from like 2015 to 2018. It turned into a marketing agency, us generating leads for other lenders, then slowly turned into a coaching. So we started in 2018 as a coaching company with the lender backend. So 2026, that's like 8 years now. Yeah.
Nice. And how many active brokers do you have in your network at this point?
As of this hour, about 7,200 people.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a significant business. Awesome, Oswald. I'm sure this is going to generate some interest from folks if they want to check you out, if they want to poke around, if they want to get a little bit more information about how all this works. Where should they go?
Our website has all the information. We have the podcast there, free information, or if they're interested in, they can book a call. It's businesslendingblueprint.com. We have a lot of free videos there if someone wants to consume, if they never heard of us, or they can talk to our team to see if any of our options is a good fit for them.
Fantastic. Oz, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, everybody. Take care and see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the High Ticket Success Podcast. Want to be featured? Share your story and inspire other premium coaches, consultants, and advisors? Apply now at highticketsuccesspodcast.com/guest.